Hello and welcome, beautiful ones. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and there is so much to cover. We are approaching 2021, which is why I'm here. I figured, why not just kind of talk about some of the things that are going on and some of the channeled message I was getting. And we're going to go back to December of 2019 because there's a lot of things that are popping up now that were popping up then. And it's so important to acknowledge that and look at it objectively and to move forward. Because if we make those same repetitive patterns and behaviors and cycles, then we're going to fall back into the same repetitive cycles ourselves. So it's important to take that to move forward. And that is why I wanted to kind of talk about those things. 2020 was never the problem any more than 2021 is a solution. It is what we do with it that is going to make the difference. And so it's so important to remember that because we're waiting around for 2021 as if it's going to be a saving grace for 2020. 2020 is inherently, as I said, not the issue. It highlighted injustices. It highlighted how we treat essential workers, finally coming to the conclusion that they're essential and then going back to normal again. It highlighted our own behaviors. It highlighted the behaviors of people around us. The people that we thought would choose the right thing when it came down to it may not have done that. And I feel like it was heartbreaking for so many of us to see people that we admired and respected and thought would do the right thing to, becoming somebody that we don't recognize. So I think a lot of that was there before. As I said, social injustice. We've seen that time and time and time again. It's 2020. It's time to make those changes that are necessary for every single person across the board. I don't understand why that's an issue. I don't understand why essential workers could be paid hazard pay and then have that taken away when the hazard was not gone. I mean, so many different things that are coming up. The issue of people that we thought we knew, friendships, families, all these things have been, they were already kind of being broken up due to not political beliefs. Let's be clear on that. It was being broken up due to ideology. It was something much more than a political stance. And how we treat and view others is imperative. It shows who we are inside and it shows where we're coming from. So that's the main thing. It wasn't over politics ever. 2020 highlighted that in ways that were, it was getting to the point where we couldn't go back, but 2020 made it to where any little thread that was hanging was gone. And so it's been heartbreaking and confusing and there's also the issue of grief that was already going on. Some of us were not happy in our home lives, and with quarantine it really spotlighted that with career choices and where we are career wise. That's another thing that it kind of shined that light on. Is this the kind of career that you're happy with, or do you want to break away and do something else? And the choice is yours. I said it last year that 2020 could be our year if we think outside the box. And I'm saying it again with conviction. 2021 can be our year. I'm going to mention something that I think is really important to understand where I'm coming from. I'm no stranger to grief at all. I've been through my share, and so many of us, we've been through that, and it's not easy. It's not easy to feel happy inside or feel peace inside when we've lost somebody dear and close to us. And when I lost my father, it was hard. So, I had to find a way to stay above water, so to speak. And I had to find peace from within. And what brought me peace is one of my friends had sent me a Hello Kitty card, knowing I loved Hello Kitty. She said she was walking by and it just jumped at her and she knew I loved Hello Kitty, so she got it for me. That brought me peace. going out and during that time buying my mom food somewhere that, our favorite restaurant, buying her little gifts, making sure that she had a Valentine's gift, even though my dad was in the hospital, or making sure that she had a nice Mother's Day. Things like that. That is what brought me that inner happiness and that peace. It didn't erase the grief, that was still there. And that is what I think that 2021, I think when I say that, it could be our year, that's what I'm meaning, is that we could have gone through the worst of it this year. But going forward into 2021, understanding that inner happiness and inner peace can be very different from grief, and they don't have to be exclusive of one another. Because, as I said, when I lost my father years ago, doesn't seem like that long ago, but, that was something that I had to understand from within. And I looked upon those moments of kindness from people around me with such fondness. And, that kind of keeps you going, seeing the kindness and the compassion from people around us. So for those of us who have suffered loss, and whether it was directly related to the situation at hand, and I don't want to say the name because I know that some people were getting content taken down because of the mention of it, but whether we lost somebody directly to that cause, or whether it was losing somebody that we love through social injustice, which is still going on, whether we lost somebody to something completely different but could not see them in the hospital because of the current situation, whatever it may be. So many of us have experienced that loss this year and over the period of time, but this year it was so much different because if we did have a loved one in the hospital, we couldn't see them. And so let me go ahead and redirect, but I did want to give clarity that sometimes positive directions are not exclusive of pain and trauma and heartbreak. So with that being said, in December of 2019, the channeled messages that I got was, it's time to make a change, because otherwise, it's going to stay the same, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that was kind of the message that I kept getting. As an example, if we have a restaurant, we can only seat 100 people. How can we maximize profits and advertising? So what we can do is advertise, hey, if you want a family meal, come down to our restaurant, grab it to go so that you can get home and watch a movie. Maybe even have, a digital card for a movie rental or something like that for every 100th customer in a certain day or whatever, but some kind of promotion. And this way, with the advertising, you're not only advertising your restaurant, maybe not everybody's ready to, go and get the to-go orders, but, if you make it sound tempting, maybe. But ultimately, no matter what, you're going to be on the tips of people's tongues. You're going to be at the forefront of consciousness by having created some kind of advertisement of some kind. So that's one way, and it doesn't matter if we're looking for love. If we're looking for love, and I was going to try to do this, but then, of course, lockdown came. So I was going to try to get out there, and I had signed up for a bunch of local events, clicking the interested button and stuff to keep on top of it. And then they all got canceled, like right after. And I'm like, well, that was bad timing because I never made an effort to do that before. But at that very time, I was like, I'm going to start getting out there, because if we want to meet more people and meet friends and network and communicate, and whether we are networking for professional services and reasons, or whether we are networking to find love or friends, whatever the case may be, getting ourselves out there is the main thing. So it's kind of like advertising, but just showing up at events and talking to people, or going out and expanding your social circle in some way. And I kind of tend to go out by myself, so there's that. You know, I never really meet a stranger, so, you know, but, you know, what is it that you want? And kind of reflecting on those things. So then we come down to career choice. What is it you want for your career? And I was getting the sense that now would be the time to make the changes. You know, beginning of the year, first few months of the year, that would be the time. Up till I think it was March where I was feeling it would be the perfect time. So if you're not happy with your current job, you know, find some other way and find an alternative. You know, figure out what you want and make a path to get there. So that was a major thing. What is it that we want in life and in career, and how to get there? Um, so then the way that another thing, um, for those of us who are more in the entrepreneurship type of thing, how can we market our services? We can do it online, live videos. Not only could we sell our new products and services or tell people about what we do and create that FaceTime so that they know who we are, you know, and so that they get a familiarity with us, but also in terms of if people know who you are, they're more likely to buy. You can have the same exact thing as somebody else, but it's going to be very different if they, you know, if they get to know you and your energy. Because when I buy something, I'm empathic. I'm going to be buying not just the item, but also the person's energy, so to speak. That sounds a little creepy. But I think people know what I'm talking about. If somebody's got good vibes, you're going to want to buy their products. And so how can we market that? We can go live video, like I said, FaceTime, you know. And not only that, but even if we don't sell anything from that live video, becoming consistent with it, because that's another thing, consistency. You know, as I said, you know, getting ourselves out there at events, letting people know who we are. And, you know, I mean, if you look in your community, if you go to the store, chances are there are those people that we know. We may not know their name, but there's something about them that stands out and we know who they are. And, you know, we get a feel for people, so they become at the forefront of our consciousness as individuals, as businesses, whatever it may be. And so that's kind of the idea behind that. I kind of sidetracked here. Anyway, with the video, that was the same idea. So the video would be about, you know, getting familiarity, consistency, so people know, hey, it's 7 o'clock on Friday. So-and-so's on with their live feed on their new products, and I want to see what it is. You know, or just people that know who you are suddenly, and they realize, hey, this person's at an event this weekend. I'm going to go see what they got. You know, and so it's just one thing leads to another, to another, to another, so on and so forth. And then from there we get the, you know, the possibilities and opportunities. So those are the things to be looking at as 2020 comes along. In 2020, or did I say 2020? I mean 2021 if I said it wrong, but we'll say at the beginning of 2020, you know, that would have been when we could have made those changes a little bit more comfortably. I think the downfall is that if we had, some of those things would have gone back exactly as they were, you know, and it would have been a little bit of a struggle. But, you know, just kind of thinking about some of the changes we could have started to incorporating. Whereas now we are at a point where it's not so much about taking action, but finding what we want and what our path is going to be, and then going from there. So that is the mass reading that I'm getting, is to kind of, you know, take it from point A to point B to point C and so on and so forth, because we don't want to make those changes just yet, because things may not have opened up completely. Things may still be in this space of trying to figure things out, to try to go forward, to, you know, just waiting around for those opportunities. to open up, because what we want may not have happened just yet. As an example, I talk about this a lot. My own career path has been so back and forth. It has been rife with, starting over and changes, and, just me kind of being a free spirit and following wherever I wanted to and giving new things a try. I have done everything from leather work to cleaning and, my gosh, retail was the main thing, because the other stuff, it's like if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes finding your zone, so to speak, finding where you're comfortable, and it's hard to be an entrepreneur sometimes, because you do have to set firm boundaries that, I need my pay up front, or, if you didn't pay for last time, then I cannot continue to work for you, that kind of thing. So it's hard to make money without the boundaries. And so I found retail for my personality at that time was a lot easier, because you didn't have to fight so hard to get paid. And so, but I have done so many different things. Like I said, leather work, I've done, goodness gracious, I know there's a lot more. I've done embroidery and custom gifts, and I've done, that was a corporate job, but it was one of my favorites. And so there's been so many different things in my path. A writer, somehow at some point I became a go-to person, like an assistant, and I did not sign up for that. And so it was after that experience that I became a full-time psychic, and, we'll say spiritual life coach, because sometimes that's a little more palatable, but, it all kind of goes hand in hand in some way, from seeing the potentials and being able to channel those things. So anyways, my point is, sometimes the opportunities that you want aren't quite there, because I had thought about doing psychic hotlines for years, and it just didn't come to a point where it was open in such a way where that was doable for me. And then when it finally did open up, it was one of those situations of, everything just fell into place and everything felt right. So your possibilities and your opportunities may not quite be open just yet. That's why it's important to reflect and to decide, okay, this is what I want, and go forward. So that way, when that opportunity does present itself, and when it does exist, that you'll recognize it. Because, like I said, sometimes it doesn't exist at all. I'm trying to think of an example here. We'll say in love, because I think this is the perfect example. So if we want to find love right now, but the person that is going to be one of our better matches is in a relationship, and they're working through that, and they're going through the toxicity, and they're trying to decompress and get to know themselves, but all they know is who their toxic partner has taught them to be. When we meet them, if we meet them now because we need love now and we want that now, they may not be ready for us, and they may not know who they are, and they may not be ready for something real, because they're not going to know what it is, and they're going to have to go through their own journey of discovery. So, their timing is not ready for ours. The same as if somebody's had a job for 25 years and that happens to be your dream job, then, it may not align to where you can have that job right now. It may be one of those situations where, you have to wait until it opens up to have that dream job. But if you get started now and you start finding out what you need to be in that line of work, and I, don't think that that's going to be the only job position available, any more than I think that the person that could be our better match is the only better match that we have, because I think that we have more than one potential partner that is going to be a perfect fit. But it does depend on the timing and all of that. So anyway, point being, if we start doing what we need to, getting to know ourselves, getting on track with what we need, finding any certifications and certificates or schooling or education that we need for a certain job, if we start to decide what it is that we want for our own path and for ourselves in love and in life, everything can align in such a way where we recognize the potential for true love when we see it, and when we recognize those opportunities that are just almost perfect for us, that feel like they kind of fall into our lap, that kind of thing. So, anyway, I'm really hoping that this makes sense. And I'm hoping that people can use this to move forward for 2021, because it's not going to be the year itself that brings it out. It is going to be so much more. It is going to be the difference between, choosing a different path and, deciding for ourselves what we want and going forward in that way. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this somewhat short. 20 minutes seems like a long time of my rambling, but anybody watching this probably going to skip around anyway, so we're good. I wish you guys all the best for this new year and beyond, and I hope that you're able to find your peace and your happiness, and I hope that it brings you things beyond your wildest dreams. But it is going to be a process, and a lot of us have to go through the healing first, and a lot of us have to go through finding our way and finding our path and learning to embrace that. With that, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and I will be catching up with y'all soon.